Hello everyone, in this video I will be rating all the Netflix Korean dramas that I've watched in 2020. I haven't watched all of them, but I did watch a lot of them and these are obviously my personal opinions. To rate the shows I'll be using a tier list that looks like this, S being the highest and F being the lowest, but I'm going to spoil it a little bit. I haven't put any K-dramas in the F category. I would also like to add that I won't be spoiling any of the shows, but I will be explaining the plot for every K-drama and showing pictures of the drama, the set, or from photo shoots like these. The final thing I would like to add is that English is not my first language, and excuse my accent, I hope everyone can understand me well, and sorry for any grammar mistakes. And I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get straight into it. The first show I will be rating is called Love Alarm. It's about a world where an app alerts people if someone in the vicinity likes them. When a famous guy transfers to a high school, almost every girl rings his love alarm, except for one girl, and this pisses him off. I thought the concept of this K-drama was very interesting. The acting was okay. It was a bit cringy for me, I don't know why. Maybe because it was like kind of an average teenage romance, except for the fact that it had a futuristic concept. But it was fun to watch and easy to watch. It only has 8 episodes, so if you're interested, you should definitely check it out yourself. I rate this K-drama an E. The second K-drama I will be reviewing is called My First Love. I started watching this show because I recognized the actress. The show is about 5 young people that all end up living in the same house, and now they must all learn to live together and learn to love. I thought this K-drama was kind of similar to Love Alarm. It's your common teenage love story, and it's also about a female protagonist with 2 potential love interests. It did portray some of the problems that teenagers or young adults face these days, and it was kind of cute. The acting was also okay, and yeah, there's actually 2 seasons, and I recommend watching it if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm rating this K-drama a D. The next drama I am rating is called Crash Landing on You. It's a story about a South Korean successful entrepreneur that is paragliding in Seoul, but a tornado blows her off course and she ends up in North Korea. Fortunately, she meets the member of the North Korean elite and captain in the Korean People's Army. As he is patrolling, he meets her and saves her. He finally decides to help her hide and find a way back to South Korea. I thought this was one of the more interesting K-dramas. It had a really great setting, and I thought it was interesting that they portrayed North Korea. I also really liked the actors, and the characters were very interesting. I could also easily immerse into the show, which is kind of necessary for a 16-episode series, in which every episode is over an hour. As you can tell, I think this is one of the better shows and I give it an A. The next show I'm going to be talking about is Itaewon Class. The show is about a guy that ends up in prison after beating up a guy that he believes has killed his father. When he is released, he opens up a restaurant in Itaewon to fulfill his father's dreams. This is definitely one of my favorite K-dramas. It has a lot of good representation, especially for Korean TV shows. For example, they have a black actor and they also portray LGBT. I won't spoil too much. But besides that, the characters were just all very interesting. I kind of had a love-hate relationship with most of them, except for the protagonist. He is just a very likable guy. A lot of moments in the show also just make you want to go to his bar and makes you want to go to Itaewon because it just gives you a warm feeling and it looks really nice and cozy. Like I said, this is one of my favorite K-dramas and that's why I give it an S rating. The next drama I'm gonna be talking about is called It's Okay to Not Be Okay, or Psycho but It's Okay. This show tells the story of a romance between a caretaker at a psych ward who lacks time for love because of his autistic brother mostly and his job, and a successful children's book author who does not know the feeling of love. I love the actors and the acting and the characters of this show. At first you think you know the characters. The protagonist Mil kind of seems like a really nice guy that would do anything for his brother, and the female protagonist just seems like a stone cold person. But once you really get to know the characters, You just know that there's much more than that and that it's much deeper than that. They also get into the past of the characters, which is very common in K-drama. I also think they really try to portray mental illnesses well and not just use them for comic relief. And you will probably start loving characters you hate and hating characters you love. As you can tell, I think they did a really good job on the show, and I also rate this show an S tier. The next show I'm going to be talking about is called Extracurricular. This is a show about a model high school student that uses a crime business to pay for his university tuition fee. He gets caught by one of his classmates that starts blackmailing him. I thought this was a very interesting and daring concept, and the characters are also very interesting. You get to know all of the important characters and you get to see different sides of the story, which doesn't make you have a favorite character. The show is only 10 episodes long and I honestly wish it was longer, and I also want a season 2. I think this is a great show with great acting, and I give this show an A rating. The next show I'm rating is called My Holo Love. This is a show about a woman with face blindness disorder. She receives glasses that make her see an AI program, Holo, whose appearance is the same as the developer. She can see the Holo's face, but not the developers. And the developers and the Holo have completely contrasting personalities. I really liked the show. I thought it was very well made and the artificial intelligence Holo seemed very realistic. I think the fact that they added the woman with aphasia was what made the show more interesting, and they did very cool things with the editing as well. I rate the show a B. I thought it was a great show, but I wasn't as emotionally invested in the characters as I was in the higher rated shows. The next show is called Hospital Playlist, and it's about 5 college friends that work in a hospital together. You get to know the characters a little bit, but I didn't think they were as interesting as other characters. But I did think that the hospital part and all the surgeries they had to perform were portrayed really well and also very nerve-wracking. And also there's a bit of romance, but I think if you like Grey's Anatomy, you would like this. I haven't watched it, but I'm guessing it's kind of similar. But I give this show a C rating. The next show is called Something in the Rain. This show is about a single woman in her 30s that falls in love with the brother of her childhood best friend. They try to hide their relationship because of their bigger age difference. This was one of the first K-dramas I watched, and I think it's a really cute love story, and it made me want to watch K-drama more. I remember watching hours of this daily, and I think I would have given it a higher rating back then, but I think now, for just a romantic love story, I would give it a good B rating. The next show actually has the same male protagonist as the show I just mentioned. This is the first K-drama I've ever watched, I think, and it made me fall in love with this actor. The show is about a woman that wants to give up her wealthy long-term boyfriend for a pharmacist that also happens to be a single dad. Of course, her parents are strongly against this. The colors in the show are really warm, as you may tell, and I just remember falling in love with this show and just binging it completely, even though it was just a kind of a classic romance story. The characters are just really lovable and you're rooting for them, and that's why I give this show an A rating. The next K-drama I'm going to be talking about is called Was It Love? This show is about a single woman and aspiring filmmaker, and she is the mother of a 14-year-old child. All of a sudden, 4 men that appeal to her in different ways appear in her life, and all while her daughter is trying to find out who her dad is. This is all happening while her mom is trying to pay off her debt by making an almost impossible movie. I really like this K-drama. You get to know the characters pretty well, and you also want to find out who the dad is. It has this nice warm feeling to it and a good vibe, but it was more of a comedy drama, and that's not really my style, so I rate this a C rating. The next show I'm going to be talking about is called Hi Bye Mama. I could talk hours about a show, but for you guys I will keep it short. It's a story of a mother who died while giving birth after a car accident, and she begins a 49-day long project of reincarnation, and a husband who has barely begun to live a new life after overcoming the pain of losing his wife. The husband had finally moved on and is now remarried to a woman that is kind of disliked by everyone. No one sees her as the child's real mom. The husband has to choose between the dead mother of his child and his current wife. I thought the acting in this K-drama was really good. I was skeptical about the whole ghost story world concept, but I ended up loving it. The K-drama turned out to be really emotional as well. You get to hear the life stories from the dead and how they passed away, and I cried my eyes out. I really love a good crying session while watching K-drama. I also think they portrayed everyone's struggles really well, while also keeping a comedic vibe. You get to see everyone's point of view. Overall, this was a really good K-drama, and it surprised me, so I'm giving this series an S rating. So the next show I'm going to be talking about is called Stranger. This show is about a prosecutor that has lost his sense of empathy and social skills due to an ear surgery. He is investigating a murder case with the assistance of a police lieutenant. They also start to suspect corruption in the prosecutor's office. This is one of the more serious K-dramas I've watched. The only comedy consists of sarcastic comments, which I actually like. I also really like this type of murder mystery and corruption concept, and the acting was really good as well. Overall, a really good show. I have yet to finish season 2, but I give this show a strong B rating. I just enjoyed and binged it a little less than the higher ranked shows. The next show I'm going to be talking about is called Mystic Pop-Up Bar. This is a very special show, and to understand it, you must watch it yourself, but I'll try to explain it briefly. It's about a mysterious bar run by an ill-tempered woman, an innocent part-time employee, and a former afterlife detective. The woman that runs the bar has to settle the grudges of 100,000 souls and comfort them as a punishment for what she did in her past life. The innocent part-time employee also gets dragged into this and also has his own weird problem, and they're going to try and help him with it. I thought this was a really interesting show with beautiful camera work and lighting, as you may tell from the pictures. I also really like the acting and the characters in the show. They're very likable. They also try to include real life problems in the show, and I always think that's a good way to raise awareness. This show was really fun to watch, and that's why I give this show an A rating. This next show is called When the Camellia Blooms. This is a show about a single mother that opens up a bar in a small town. But trust me, this is a completely different show than the one I just mentioned before. The single mom meets a playful police officer that declares his love for her. She refuses, but he keeps pursuing her, all while trying to find out who is threatening to kill the single mom. I honestly thought the characters in the show were kind of weird, but it also made them quite interesting. Although the characters were kind of annoying at times, I still wanted the best for them. The story itself is okay, they added some interesting parts to it, and I think those really saved the show. The setting is mostly just a small town they live in, and I liked watching it, but it wasn't an amazing show, so I rated a C. The final K-drama I'm going to be rating is called Prison Playbook. This is a show about a famous baseball player that ends up going to prison for beating up a guy that was sexually harassing his sister. Luckily, one of his friends is an officer in the prison he goes to. I really liked this show. It had a lot of funny characters and it was very enjoyable to watch. You also get to see the struggles of being in prison, which is also interesting. I think it was mainly a comedy, but I still really liked it. The humor was my style, so I give this show a B rating. So those were all the K-dramas I have watched on Netflix in 2020. I'm not ending the video yet though. I'm going to do a fast recap of all the shows ranking from lowest to the highest to get a final overview of the tier list. So my lowest rating is Love Alarm. I'm not sure if I did this drama right. It's not that bad actually, but I don't know, it just wasn't my type of drama. My only D rating is My First Love. It was also an enjoyable drama, but just not really my style. But if you were into that teen romance thing, then you should definitely watch it. It's not a bad drama. Then in C rating we have Hospital Playlist, Was It Love, and When the Camellia Blooms. I think When the Camellia Blooms would go one down in the D rating because I think the other two were more enjoyable, and maybe Was It Love would go in the B ranking, but I'm not sure because the other B rankings are also more enjoyable. Then for our B ranking we have My Holo Love, Something in the Rain, Stranger, and Prison Playbook. They're all very good K-dramas in my opinion, and I really enjoyed them. I think I'm pretty satisfied with my choices here. Then in the A ranking we have Crash Landing on You, Extracurricular, One Spring Night, and Mystic Pop-Up Bar. At think it was kind of hard to distinguish the S, A, and B tier because they were all just dramas I really loved and really enjoyed and I thought were really good. Then for the S ranking, my absolute favorite K-dramas up until now are Itaewon Class, It's Okay to Not Be Okay, and Hi Bye Mama. I actually think those first two are very popular and they deserve it. And I think the last one, Hi Bye Mama, is not as popular, but I just really enjoyed it and it was really emotional, which I really liked. So yeah, this is the ending of the video. Here is a final overview of all the K-dramas I have ranked. You can pause the video if you'd like. And of course, these are all my personal opinions and yours will definitely differ from them. If you have any good K-drama recommendations based off my rankings, or just any K-drama that you really love, let me know in the comments. They don't have to be on Netflix, I will look it up. And if you like this video, please let me know so I can do a part 2. Thank you for watching, and of course subscribe for more.